Hi, kia ora, good morning. I've been awake for a little while. I'm having my coffee, I'm about to have my breakfast as well. But I wanted to tell you about something that was so cool. Last night I was listening to some Tlingit Haida music. Because you know how, like in a lot of my dreams, I talk about hearing the drums, and their music is very drum centric. My dad was a drummer. Maybe, I don't know. Excuse me, sorry, I'm just sipping my coffee and it's getting stuck because of my damaged throat from when I was tortured. So I was listening to the music, and there was this one guy playing. His name was Donny Eden Shaw, and it had like a little bio thing in the Spotify, and I started looking him up, and I just, oh my god, he's an artist and a singer and a dancer, but his art, like his carvings and his art, like oh my god, his carvings, and I was looking up a whole pile of like the artists in association with him, and so much of it looks like Māori art. He was doing stuff that looked like tikis and taniwha, and that you know that we have surrounding our maraes and our pās and stuff, and it's like I froze. I felt like I was frozen in time. Their their meeting houses and that the way that they're built are so similar to ours. Like it's undeniable that we are related. And I got so excited because this Donny Edenshaw is exactly the kind of teacher that I'm looking for my school. I mean, obviously, I'm not saying him personally because he's famous and, you know, he's a famous Canadian Indigenous artist and that, but people like him, and because he's wanting to keep those kind of skills alive, and so do I, which is why one of my, remember, I've been talking this whole time, I've been talking about my foundation, about looking for woodwork teachers to teach kids how to work with wood again, woodwork teachers and wood turners and stuff like that, blacksmithing, so that they can create art with iron and ore, and you know what I mean. I've been looking at men online who make swords and weapons and all of that, because these are the sort of people that I'm trying to find as teachers, so that if we can come on board as Indigenous teachers and show these kids how our ancestors did it, by teaching them how to do like little tikis and taniwhas and totem poles and all of that sort of thing, even if they are white. I mean, it would be brilliant for us to come along and teach the Pākehā, you know, the white skins, to teach them the old ways of doing things. Then they might develop their own love for it, and then use their wood turning and wood carving skills, or their carving skills and that, into celebrating their own culture. And remember, I was saying in the new world, when the old world is torn down, when the darkness is removed, it's going to be up to Indigenous people to show the Westerners and that how to live in the new world by teaching them our own skills. I'm seeing it right in front of me. It's so there. It's starting to birth itself. It it's starting to birth itself through what I've created, if I can find the right Indigenous people of Alaska and Canada and that and America and New Zealand and Australia and all that to come on board as teachers and mentors. Now, I'm going to contact my cousin William. Um, he's like my big brother. We grew up together. I don't consider him anything other than my brother. But all his 15,000 kids, because him and his missus have got like 100 kids, they're all in like the kapahaka groups and all of that. I'm going to contact him because I want to get him to find someone who can carve. Like when you walk into the gates of my foundation, I want to have like a big carving of the taniwha, so that you have to walk under our carvings, which look just like totem poles, but they're not poles, it's more flat panels, right? So I need someone to do these carvings for me. They're going to be sacred. So I'll pay for him and his missus and his tribe to come over to help me get it all set up and to do the kaya and all that for when we open the school. I can do the blessing because I'm a priest. I'm in it like a tauhunga. I'm a Indigenous reverend, Indigenous priest. So I can do the blessing. That's fine. But I also have a cousin called Navarone, who is a Indigenous artist, and his work is incredible. It's exquisite. It's like that Donny Edenshaw. It's beautiful. Like it calls to your soul when you look at what they've done, and like you see the love that they have for their people, and that it feeds the soul. It's absolutely beautiful. So I think the last time I saw Never on social media, I think he'd won some sort of award or gotten some sort of contract, or I don't know, he'd gotten some sort of prestige in his work. And I remember thinking to myself, I would love to bring him over as a teacher. So if I can bring my people over who are artists and carvers and singers and weavers, because I know, we were weavers, weaving flax and weaving wool and all of that as well. If I can bring my family, my whānau, who are the artists and carvers and weavers and all of that over, and if they can't, they're going to know people who would jump at the chance to come over for a couple of months a year and be teachers and show these kids the Indigenous ways. My people, we weaved the flax into kete so that we could cook our vegetables in the volcanic glaciers and, the volcanic water up round Whakarewarewa and Rotorua way, where we still have the volcano. It smells like rotten egg. The whole of Rotorua smells like rotten egg because, it's the gases coming up from the volcanoes. And everything's all like covered in sulphur and yeah, it stinks, but you get used to it. And we used to put our fruits and vegetables in like the geysers and the hot springs and that in order to cook our vegetables. I mean, we can't do that in Alaska, but one of the things that I can get my cousins to do is, which I wanted to do for our international food festivals, was do hangis and feed people. We can put on like weekly hangis, which is where we in New Zealand and us Māori people, we dig holes in the ground, like these big massive pits, and then we put hot stones. We light fires and put stones on top so they get really hot, and then pour water on them and put the food on top, like the meat, and meat goes down the bottom, and then the vegetables and potatoes and that, and then we cover it with leaves, and then we bury it with dirt, and then we leave it for like 7-8 hours to cook in the steam, and it's absolutely beautiful. And so I want to be able to put on hangis and stuff. And what I'm seeing with being introduced to this Donny Edenshaw, is that I think there was I don't know if it's his wife or his sister, Brenda Edenshaw is an artist as well. But it just, what I'm seeing is I'm seeing the fusion. I'm seeing it come together. I'm seeing the fusion of the Tlingit Haida people, and I'll work with any of them. It doesn't matter, I don't care who the tribe is. I don't care if they're Siberian. If they can, if they're carvers and weavers and storytellers and artists and that, and they are able to bring our world to life, to teach these children the simple, beautiful way of self-expression, because you've got to remember our kids are all going to be artistic and creative. I think that we'll be able to help them heal in so many ways and bring peace to them in so many ways, and maybe even help them discover parts of themselves they didn't know were there, especially if we're able to help them learn how to trace their roots. They might even find out that they're from Indigenous peoples as well. But I'm seeing it manifest right in front of my eyes. I've been saying in the new world, when all the darkness is removed, and it's being torn down now, regardless of what they threaten us with, I've been saying, like I've been banging the drum. I've got videos up. I've got posts where I have been imploring Indigenous people to step into their power, because it's going to be up to us to take everyone's hands and take them into the new world when we go back to the ways of tradition, when we go back to, when we start walking away from the reliance of the internet and go back to having conversations over the fence, where we talk on the phone again, where we get in the car and go and visit them rather than WhatsApp them. We're going to encourage them to go outside and sit under trees and read books again. And video game playing will be for relaxation and de-stressing. It's not going to be your life. AI isn't going to take over your life. It's all going to get shut down. And people who are reliant on technology and technology for communication as well, they're not going to know how to deal with the real world, as well as the shock of realising just how dark and dangerous their governments were. And it's going to be up to us to show them how to do it. I've been saying it for years. I've been banging the drum and saying to Indigenous people from all around the world, it's going to be up to us. This is what the White Buffalo Calf Woman prophecy was. She brings everyone together to show them how to live in peace, so that we can all show everyone else how to live in peace. And I'm as white as the driven snow. I look like Snow White. I have bright blue eyes, but my blue eyes come from the fact that my Indigenous Viking ancestors, my Indigenous Scandinavian ancestors, bred with my Spanish ancestors. And it created a mutation of blue eyes. And then we went to Ireland and became redheads and, all of that. So, and I can't speak the language of my people, but I am going to learn. I am going to learn how to speak Te Reo Māori. I'm going to take classes, but I speak the language of my ancestors. And you need physics for that. You need to understand astronomy and physics to decipher the language of our ancestors. And I'm talking about our ancestors who were the navigators to the stars. We got the eclipse today. We've got the alignment of the 6 planets. We've got the meteor shower at its brightest today. And I think it's very poignant that the timing of my awakening, the timing of my ancestral descendant resurrection, the timing of my stepping into my Indigenous power, it has been done by design. It's perfectly planned and perfectly timed. And so is this message that I'm putting out today. Because I've been trying for years, but because I'm so heavily shadow banned, my messages don't always get through. Or a lot of people have people talking in their ear to say, don't listen to her, she's crazy. Because they're white supremacists. They want to believe that the white skins reigns supreme. And they don't. Because when it all gets torn down, and it is getting torn down, it's going to be up to us to show people how to go back to the traditional ways of even simple things like cooking meals at home, growing your own vegetables, getting back into normal circadian sleep rhythms, relying on your intuition and instinct. They're all primal. It's all primal knowledge of Indigenous people that we do without thinking. It's just natural for us. And if I can get people like Donny Edenshaw on board, or, I mean, because he's famous, it would be cheeky of me, but I've approached like famous people before. If he knows people who are prepared to come and be teachers for carving and, traditional Indigenous art, and if he knows people that can come and teach weaving, and, because they make the most beautiful clothes, and wear the same colour, red, white and black. And I'll contact my Wiramu, I call him William. I'll get hold of William and I'll say to him, he's got daughters, Hinamua, Tiana, they're big into like the kapahaka thing. They might be more up for coming over to help me get it all started, to integrate, the cultures together in classes for the kids, and for my shop as well. Shops plural, because if I open one, I'm going to open others just like it. And so I'll pay for them all to come over and help me get it started, and then he can source like the wood carvers and that for the big carvings in the gateway to my school grounds, Firetown, the foundation. And then we can have like a whole big ceremony when it's time to open it, and bring the two together. Bring the two ancestral descendants together, the reunification. What a beautiful way to fuse the Tlingit, Haida, First Nations art and culture with the Māori. The Tlingit and Haida especially will merge beautifully together because they're identical. I was looking at pictures, they even have mokos, like facial, like chin tattoos and that. So I've put a link in the description box of the music I've been listening to, and it's just beautiful. It calms my heart. How do I put it? I said it's like listening to a heartbeat. When you have a baby, when you're hapu, when you're pregnant, and the baby grows accustomed to the mother's heartbeat, and then after they're born, when you put the baby on the mama's chest, when the pepe lays on the mama's chest, and they calm down once they hear the mother's heartbeat. That's how I feel when I listen to those drums. And I think that it's Donny Edenshaw banging the drums. And I swear that's the drums I've been hearing all these years. And the basket weaving women. Remember I talk about in my Te Whiti dream about the basket weaving women. Just before the Lionsgate portal, I said I felt like I had died, like the old me had died. On the other side of the Lionsgate portal, I've been reborn with my roots firmly established in Alaska, and I can only thank my son for that. So when this is over, I'm going to reward my sons with something, I don't know what yet, but I'm so proud of them. And my eldest today messaged me because he's made like a whole law in his gaming thing on Discord that he wants to base around Māoridom and the hierarchical rankings of Māoridom. And he asked if I could send him some information so that he could come up with names. And because he's the one that I'm dealing with when it comes to gaming, he's like my gaming writing business partner. I'm not going to go into details, but last year he came up with an awesome video game idea that has never been done before based on Indigenous cultures. And that's all I'm going to say. And when I get there and I set up QE2 Games, we're going to make it. And what I'll do is I'll get all of these people that he was talking about, he can sit and meet them and they can tell them about their warrior cultures and their, their rankings and leadership and hierarchical system and all of that so that we can incorporate it into this video game. But there's nothing like it out there. It'll be a world first. And then it means that I can get Indigenous people from all over the world to be the voice actors. So my children and I are going to be bringing a lot of people together and putting new life into the new world. We're right at the precipice of the start of the birth of the new world, and my children and I are right there sitting on the thrones of this empire. And I'm calling for other tribes to come and join me. And I'll be funding most of it. I mean, I'll be looking for investors, but I'll be funding most of it. But I don't know how. I'm going to try and see if I can reach out to that Donnie Edenshaw and ask him if he knows anyone who would be prepared to come and be wood carving teachers and artists, and because obviously I'm going to have like a fashion design department as well, so we can work together to create a fashion range that's based on our two cultures, which because remember my fashion house, my sister and I were originally going to call the House of Wahine, the House of Women, but it's men as well. So I said to my sister, we can't have the Whare Wahine, the House of Wahine, the House of Women, because some of our fashion designers, and I know a couple of students that I had my eye on that I saw on YouTube who were into fashion design were boys. So I can't call it the House of Women. But my mind has just been blown wide open to the potential of what it is I'm creating and what I can do for Indigeneity if I can just find the right people to get on board. And I will definitely be reaching out to my cousins and saying, do you know people? Can you, like, anyone fancy a free trip to Alaska to come and make some money teaching kids how to weave baskets? And, so my dreams are coming true. I wished upon a star. I wished upon a North Star, many years ago, and now I'm seeing it come true. Remember my grandmother Tree Dream said, let the horses take you, and when they stop, look up. Well, yesterday the horses, remember? And I looked up, and who did I see? And now, because remember, when I look up, it's going to point the way to where I'm to build and stuff. Well, I know where I'm to build, but the horses stopped, and when I looked up, it was that Crenshaw, Donny Edenshaw, and all the artists in his like little, well, not little, colony, artistic colony of artists. And I was going through all their stuff. He does the most beautiful cross. I mean, I don't believe in crosses and crucifixes and stuff because I know what it means in terms of physics, but it was absolutely beautiful. Like I gasped. I took it as a sign. So yeah, so when I'm ready to go, I'm going to reach out to him and say, could you recommend some teachers for these kids? And then kids from all over the world, kids from China and Siberia and Mongolia and that when we get them, kids from Australia and New Zealand and Oceania and all that, when they come to my school and they're sitting down to learn how to do traditional wood carvings and stuff, I reckon it's going to awaken in them dormant ancestral connection that they didn't even know about. Like, we'll help bring it to life. We get to plant that seed in them, and I'm so proud. And I'm just hoping I can find other Indigenous artists and creatives who share the same vision. So even like teaching them how to bang drums. I mean, we're not drum bangers. We use our feet and our voices and our hands, and we have our poise, but we can teach them how to make poise. I know how to make poise. The little balls on a stick that we fling about. I know how to make poise, so we can teach the girls how to make poise. The boys can learn how to carve taiaha and mere, which is our spears, and we use them for ceremonial things. We can teach them how to make all of that, but fuse their own culture into it. I just need open-minded carvers, wood turners, and that they need to be able to teach them how to do what we do, but at their own. Because I mean, you can't have someone from Russia or Hungary running around with a Māori taiaha because it's not their culture, but we can help them find their Hungarian route or their Russian route or their Scandinavian, their German route, and put that into it, and then when they go home, they've got souvenirs. They've got something to remind them. I have a feeling, because what I'm building is getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and drawing more people in, I have a feeling that a lot of these kids, when their year is up and they have to go back home, they're going to want to come back. So, oh God, I'm so proud of my boys. They've really started stepping up, and I'm trying not to be like overly emotional because I'm the mum that's always kissing and hugging them and telling them what a great job they do when they've just tied their shoelaces, but I'm literally Beverly Goldberg. From the Goldbergs. I'm Beverly Goldberg. So, yeah, but my babies are turning into warriors. I'm seeing it right in front of my eyes. They're born leaders. I created warriors who are leaders. They are chieftains in their own right. And they're mine. And considering my ex-father-in-law told me that my children would never be Callaghan's and they were only Scottish, to see them turn so Māori, yeah, just fills me with pride. So I'm going to go. So, you know, if they're out there, they'll come, eh? If they find this, they'll contact me. If they share my vision, they'll fuse with me. And that's all I can do is put it out there. And then when I get there, I'll be able to do more on the ground. I'll go to the Cultural Arts Centre in Anchorage. They've got one in Anchorage and in Juneau. I'll go and visit them. Their cultural art museum and cultural arts centres, and there I'll go to them. I'll explain my situation. They're going to know if there's artists and actors and weavers and all of that that are looking for work where we can promote their stuff and sell their stuff, and that where they can come and teach and perform. It gives them a platform to record albums that we can put in our shop, to put their art on our walls and, you know, put them in my gallery and all of that sort of thing, so they can make money from it, as well as making money teaching, as well as doing some good with the children. Culturally, it's huge. If I can find people who want to come on board, we can even show them how to knit bed socks, which in places as cold as Alaska, I think will be quite inviting, and you can make you can knit a pair of bed socks, which Māori people have been doing. You know, I grew up with, my mum could knock up a pair of bed socks in a couple of hours. So, and my cousin Arfina, we just call her Arfi. She's fantastic with knitting bed socks and baby booties and that. So, you know, we can get that all that stuff made and shipped over to sell in the shops in places like Alaska. It's going to be, I think they'll go down quite well. And then I can get them over and, you know, they can teach the kids how to make them themselves. So, because Māori people, we still put knitted booties on our babies, and we wear bed socks, which are knitted like woolen, you know, to keep your feet warm in the winter. And you can put them on under your boots and shoes and that to keep your feet warm if you got to go out. So yeah, I can bring all of that over and sell it and promote it, and I don't mean sell my heritage, but I mean sell the product so that they can make money from it. It's a great way for them to make money. All the quees and all the whaia, all the elder women and aunties, yeah, they can sit in their chairs in New Zealand and knit, and then put their stuff in the boxes and ship them over, and then, you know, we can put their money in the bank, and they can just do it while they're watching Shortland Street or Corrie, having their cup of tea and their bickies while they're knitting up a storm, baby blankets and so, because we're carvers and knitters and weavers and that too, baby products, and I can sell all of that stuff. And I think especially in Juneau, my organic cosmetics and beauty products, as well as bringing the ones over from my cousins and stuff, I think the tourists on those cruise ships, it'll go down really well. My spritzers and sprays, they'll go through customs because they're organic, they're chemical free. They'll get to smell nice organically rather than putting all the alcohol fused perfumes and that on their body. They'll be able to leave, and what I'll do is I'll put blends together that represent Juneau and Alaska. So when they spray, whether it's on their bodies or their room or their fabrics or whatever, they'll be able to go, oh, that reminds me of when I was in Juneau. Every time I smell that now, it reminds me of when I was in Alaska. My candles, you know, my skincare range and all of that. I've got a cousin that makes organic baby wipes. It's all natural and 100% organic and chemical free. So, you know, I'll be like, come on, let's do it. I had been discussing it with my cousin Afina. It was her daughter. And I had been discussing it about collaborating with them when I got to America. And then obviously all hell broke loose. And then I lost my Instagram and have no contact with her anymore. But I'll just say to my sister, can you give me Afi's phone number? When I'm ready. I want to be able to approach them when I'm ready, when I've got the money to invest, when I've got something to give them, to show them that I'm serious, and then we can get the legal work done so that they're protected and I'm protected, and then they can sign on the dotted line. And because my son pointed me in the direction, hit the nail right on the head, the bullseye, it's just blowing my mind wide open as to where I'm taking this. And it was there the whole time. I just didn't see it because I had given up on ever thinking that I would be going back to America. I'm just waiting for Trump and Musk to be moved out of the way because they're my obstacles. But they fall with the darkness. And once they're gone, I step in. And it feels like it's going to happen almost overnight. So I just need the right people to be brought to me now. But if it's meant to be, they'll come, won't they? So if they're out there listening, my email me. Let's do this. We can put a plan of action together. And then I just need to wait for the news that my fight is over and my money's in my bank, and I've already got everything step by step planned, from the hotel we'll stay in, to the flights, what flights we'll take, the estate agents for looking at rental houses, properties to look at to buy to build the school, the art and cultural centres I need to approach, phone companies, where we'll get our mobile phones from, the supermarkets, our nearest supermarket, so that, you know, when we're staying in the hotels, when we need to buy products and stuff. It's all planned now, so that getting the news of justice and that money hitting my bank is the beginning of the end, the alpha to omega, because then once that happens, I know that Trump and Musk are going to get removed and they will no longer be the mountain in my way. At the moment, I've climbed the mountain and I'm sitting at the top and I can see the view in front of me. I can see what's there in front of me. And now I need to climb down the mountain so the mountain can be removed. Then the mountain will be behind me and not in front. I'm nearly there. I'm so close. I can see it. And I'm going to need music teachers and acting coaches, and because I'm going to need a lot of voice actors, because voice actors, because I've got movies to make, I've got games to make. My plan of action is all there, neat and tidy, all my ducks in a row, ready to go. I've already figured out what I'm taking, what I'm leaving, handing over the keys to this place, bringing in the cleaners, what to do when the cleaners come in to clean everything up so I can hand over the keys, getting rid of my phone contract, when and how. I'm all ready to go. My bags are packed, pretty much. And my message in a bottle. Remember, she smashes the bottle. The fairy, Indigenous fairy, sings and smashes the bottle. They realise she was protecting the children. Tardowski gets dragged off to prison, and then she turns into an eagle and puts the children on her back and flies into the forest where she sits on her throne made from a carved out tree trunk. And then all the animals of the forest come and put her crown on her head, which is made of bark and feathers and shells and rocks and pebbles and leaves and all of it. You know, her crown is made of Mother Earth. And now I understand why. Because my throne and my crown is waiting for me in Alaska. Because that's when I step into who I was born to be, which is the matriarch to Queen Bee Industries. Although I don't know if I can use Queen Bee Industries in America, because I think there's already a company called Queen Bee Industries, North Star Industries. So I was even looking up the kind of bees that they have in Alaska because I want to keep bees. I'm from New Zealand, and New Zealand's famous for their honey, and my name literally means bee. And I've got a whole range based around bees and honey. So anyway, I'm going to go. Have a beautiful day. Enjoy this. This is going to be the first eclipse in my life I'm ever going to enjoy because of what's just happened. This is a big one for me spiritually. So I'll speak to you later. One thing I was meant to say, have you noticed with this fake heat wave they're making a big deal about? Oh my God, it's like 33 degrees. It's always 33 degrees here in the summertime. If you look at the weather pattern for the forecast, it's literally like they're dialing the weather up. So it'll go at 9 o'clock, it's going to be 25 degrees. At 10 o'clock, it's going to be 26 degrees. 11 o'clock's 27 degrees. 12 o'clock's 28 degrees. And it's hottest when the sun's going down. How does that work if it's not done by design? And they're saying the hottest weather on record. It's not. They had hotter weather than this in the 70s. They're trying to say last year was hotter, but it wasn't. Last year I think we had like maybe a week and a half of hot weather. And then scarily, after today and tomorrow, which tells you they're wanting something to happen today and tomorrow, they'll be working with the solar eclipse because they are a cult. So they'll be using today with, the planetary alignments and all that, with the heat, there'll be some occult significance to it that I just I don't care anymore. I don't want to go into it. But, and then all of a sudden the temperature drops to like 20, 19 in the forecast. And that doesn't happen during a summer cycle, which proves that this heat wave is staged. Musk's space lasers and the solar panels, and it's all to control the food, the farming, agriculture, all of that, which is why they're going to get torn down. This is why the darkness is going to get removed, because what they're trying to do, what they're forcing on everyone, can't be allowed to happen, and so the gods are stepping up and saying no. And so when they're removed and they're held accountable, people are already talking about trials at The Hague and all of that sort of thing. It's going to be up to us Indigenous people to show people how to learn to live again, the old-fashioned way, the traditional way, where the internet is a convenient necessity rather than an addiction and reliance. Ne? So I'm going to go. Have a beautiful day once more. I'll speak to you later. Mwah.